All right, let's dive in. Today we're taking a deep dive into the latest from Honasa Consumer Ltd.
The company behind those big brands, you know?
Mama Earth Dermico.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got their investor presentation and all their reports.
All those fun reports.
We're going to try to decode them for you.
Yeah, make it a little more interesting.
A little less dry.
They went public pretty recently, actually.
Oh, did they?
November 2023.
Okay.
Listed on the NSE and BSE.
So they're getting a lot of attention.
Definitely under the microscope.
So what's their model? What do they actually do?
Basically, they're selling all sorts of beauty and personal care products.
Right.
Like, think of baby care, skin care,
Okay.
hair care, all that.
The whole gamut.
The whole range, yep.
But they don't actually make the stuff, right?
Not themselves, no.
Right.
They work with all these third-party contractors for the manufacturing.
So they're more like the brand architects.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay. Interesting.
It's all about the brand for them.
So let's jump into those Q2 FY25 results.
All right, let's see what they're saying.
They're making some waves.
Yeah, bit of a stir.
First glance, revenue's looking pretty good.
462 crore.
Not bad.
Seems healthy, right?
Yeah.
But there's a little catch.
Oh.
That's actually down 6.9%
Oh, wow.
compared to last year, same time.
So a bit of a decline.
Yeah, some investors are scratching their heads a bit.
So what's the reason? What happened?
They're saying it's mostly because of this thing they're calling Project Neve.
Project Neve. What's that?
It's a big change in how they're doing distribution,
Okay.
specifically in their top 50 cities.
Okay.
They're going direct, cutting out the super stockist.
Ah, so no more middleman.
Right to the retailer.
That's a pretty bold move.
Definitely a shakeup.
I bet that comes with some growing pains, right?
You bet.
Like what?
Well, for one, they had to do this whole inventory correction thing.
What does that mean?
Basically, they had to adjust their stock levels.
Makes sense. New model, new stock.
Exactly. And that affected their reported revenue. Ah, so the numbers are a bit skewed because of that.
Yeah, if you adjust for that correction,
Oh.
their revenue is actually 525 crore.
Oh, wow. So it's actually growth.
Yeah, 5.7% year on year.
Okay, so not a decline after all.
More of a restructuring hiccup.
Okay, but how's that affecting their profits? I mean, I imagine this transition's got to be costing them.
You're right on the money.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a smooth ride.
Yeah.
Their reported EBITDA.
EBITDA, for those who don't know.
Yeah, it's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Right. So basically, their operating profit.
Exactly.
Okay.
That was negative 6.6% for the quarter.
Oh, ouch.
But again, after adjusting for the inventory correction,
Okay.
their EBITDA margin is 4.1%.
So they're taking a short-term hit, hoping for long-term gain.
That's the idea.
Okay, but let's unpack this Project Neve a bit more.
Yeah, it's more than just cutting out the middleman.
So what are they actually doing?
It's like a 6-step plan.
Okay.
First, they right-size their inventory.
Got rid of excess stock, made room for the new model.
Those spring cleaning.
Exactly. Then they beefed up their supply chain capabilities.
Okay.
More warehouses, better logistics, the whole shebang.
That's a big undertaking, especially in India.
Massive operation, yeah.
Okay, and then the big one, the direct distribution.
Yep, step 3.
That's got to be a logistical nightmare.
Tons of moving parts, new routes, retailers, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, I got
Step 4 is all about technology.
bring in the tech to smooth things out.
Exactly.
What kind of tech?
A fancy distributor management system
Okay.
and a Salesforce automation system too.
Okay.
So DMS and SFA.
All right, so everyone's on the same page, real-time data, all that.
Yep, transparency and efficiency.
Okay, makes sense.
Step 5, they're changing how they work with their remaining distributors,
Okay.
focusing on ROI-based partnerships.
So everyone benefits, not just Honasa.
Exactly. A win-win.
Okay. And the last step,
A norm-based ordering system.
what's that?
They're using data and algorithms to predict demand.
So they can avoid overstocking or running out.
Exactly. Optimizing everything.
So they're really building a well-oiled machine.
Trying to, yeah.
But the big question is it worth all this upheaval?
That's what everyone wants to know.
Are they confident it'll pay off?
They believe so.
Okay.
They're saying this direct model will give them more control,
Okay.
better margins, stronger relationships with retailers.
Okay, so it's a gamble,
Big time.
high stakes.
Absolutely.
Well, let's see how this is all playing out for their flagship brand.
Mama Earth.
Yeah, they're the face of Honasa, right?
Pretty much.
So how are they doing in this new landscape?
It's a bit of a mixed bag, honestly. They've hit some snags.
Like what?
Consumer preferences are shifting, especially online.
Oh, interesting.
People are going for those active ingredient products,
Okay.
which is a bit of a challenge for Mama Earth with their whole natural and toxin-free thing.
Yeah, that's their whole thing.
Exactly. So they're kind of caught between two trends.
Natural versus science-backed, that's a tough spot.
Yeah, they're trying to figure it out.
Okay, and is that affecting their market share?
Well, their growth has slowed down a bit,
Okay.
but they did gain value market share.
What's value market share?
It takes both volume and price into account.
Okay.
They're up 125 basis points year on year.
For those who don't speak finance, what's a basis point?
Oh, sorry, it's just 1/100th of a percentage point.
Okay, so their market share grew by 1.25%.
Exactly.
Okay, so they're not losing ground, but they're not exactly soaring either.
Yeah, it's a bit of a holding pattern.
What else are they doing?
They're pushing hard offline.
Okay.
They're in over 10,000 modern trade stores now.
Wow. So not just online anymore.
Nope, diversifying their reach.
Okay, so a mixed bag for Mama Earth.
Some wins, some challenges.
Makes sense. It's a big transition.
Yeah, lots of moving pieces.
Now, it's interesting to see how the other brands are doing under Honasa.
Yeah, they've got a few.
I'm particularly curious about the Dermaco.
The science-backed one.
Yeah. How are they doing?
They're killing it.
Really?
Over 28% growth year on year.
Wow. That's a big difference from Mama Earth.
Yeah, totally different story.
Why do you think that is?
Their whole focus on science-backed skincare is resonating.
Makes sense. People are looking for results.
Exactly, and they're nailing their offline strategy too.
Okay.
They're in over 1,600 modern trade stores
Okay.
and over 2,500 GT stores.
Go to GT stores.
General trade, like your local pharmacy or cosmetics shop.
Ah, okay.
They're going for that premium beauty and chemist counter segment.
Smart move, targeting the right audience.
Definitely strategic.
Okay, so the Dermaco is doing great.
They're on a roll.
And this brings us to Honasa's big strategy, right?
The house of brands approach.
Yeah, tell me about that. Why do they do that?
They want to cater to the whole market, all the different segments.
So they need different brands for different people.
Exactly. Different personalities, different appeals.
Okay, so it's like having different tools in your toolkit.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, so how do the brands break down?
Well, you've got Mama Earth, the natural and toxin-free one.
Right, that's their big one.
Then the Dermaco for the science-minded folks.
Okay.
Aqualogica is all about hydration and lightweight textures.
Okay, interesting.
And then Dr. Sheath's, they blend Ayurveda with modern science.
Wow, so they really do have something for everyone.
That's the goal.
But does this house of brands always work smoothly? Man, Mama Earth's having some trouble.
Yeah, it's not a perfect system.
Does that make you question the whole strategy?
It definitely raises some questions.
Like what?
Can they manage all these brands effectively?
Yeah.
Will they cannibalize each other?
Right.
Is it sustainable in the long run?
Big questions.
Yeah, they're betting big on this approach.
Okay, well, we'll have to see how it plays out.
Definitely one to watch.
All right, so let's shift gears and talk about Honasa's plans for the future.
All right, let's see what they've got in store.
What are their goals? What's their vision?
Well, they're aiming high.
Right.
They want to be category leaders.
Wow, ambitious.
Very ambitious.
And how are they going to do that?
They're focusing on a few key areas.
Okay.
First, category-specific innovation.
So new products tailored to each segment.
Exactly. No one-size-fits-all approach.
Okay, makes sense.
They're also investing heavily in marketing,
Oh.
making sure they're reaching the right people with the right message.
So targeted campaigns for each brand.
Exactly. And they're continuing to build out their offline distribution.
Okay, so Project Neve is still a big focus.
Very much so.
What about their financial targets? Are they just focused on growth?
They want profits, too.
Okay.
They're actually aiming for double-digit EBITDA in FY26.
Wow, that's a bold target.
It shows they're serious about building a sustainable business.
Okay, not just chasing revenue.
Exactly. Long-term vision.
Now, I wanted to touch on something else I noticed in their reports.
Okay.
Their commitment to sustainability and social impact.
Ah, yes, they're pretty vocal about that.
It's not just lip service either.
No, they've got some concrete initiatives.
But,
They've planted over 700,000 trees.
wow, that's a lot of trees.
A big effort.
What else?
They're empowering over 24,000 students with science education programs.
Oh,
They're providing clean drinking water to over 800 rural households.
wow, that's amazing.
They're providing skill certification to over 12,000 women in hair care.
Okay.
And they've conducted over 4,000 health checkups.
Wow, so they're really trying to make a difference.
It's a holistic approach.
Yeah, it's impressive.
They're not just talking the talk.
They're walking the walk.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit and look at their Q2 performance overall.
All right, big picture time.
They had that revenue decline, but they're saying it's because of Project Neve.
Yeah, and their adjusted revenue actually shows growth.
Right, so how do you interpret all of that?
It's a mixed bag, like I said.
Yeah,
Transformations are messy,
right.
the dip is understandable, but the growth is encouraging.
So their core business is still strong.
Seems to be
Okay. But it's early days for this transition.
very early.
And what about Mama Earth? They're facing some headwinds, like we discussed.
Yeah, those shifting consumer preferences.
Are they addressing those effectively?
They're trying. They're exploring how to incorporate active ingredients
Okay.
while staying true to their natural image.
That's a tough balance.
It is, and they're also trying to refresh their brand.
Okay.
Stay relevant, you know?
Right. It's a competitive market.
Extremely competitive.
And don't forget, the Dermaco.
Oh, yeah. They're doing fantastic.
They're proving Honasa can do science-backed skincare.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's hope for Mama Earth.
Maybe they can learn from the Dermaco's success.
That's a good point.
Okay, so it's interesting to see these different trajectories within the same company.
Definitely highlights the need for adaptability.
Right, you got to evolve with the market.
Absolutely.
And this all ties back to their House of Brands strategy.
That's their big bet.
They're diversifying their offerings, catering to everyone.
Hoping to cover all their bases.
But it's risky.
Right, very risky.
They could spread themselves too thin,
That's the danger.
or the brands could clash.
Definitely a possibility.
So it'll be fascinating to see how this all plays out.
Absolutely, a lot of unknowns.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground, from their financials to their strategy.
And their social impact initiatives, too.
Right, they're doing some good work there.
They are.
But now I want to shift the focus to you, the listener.
Okay, bring it back to the individual.
We've thrown a lot of information at you.
A lot to digest.
But what does it all mean for you?
Yeah, how does this affect your decisions?
Whether you're thinking about investing in Honasa?
Or just trying to figure out what products to buy.
Exactly. So join us in the next part as we explore that.
We'll connect the dots.
And hopefully help you make more informed choices.
That's the goal.
All right, see you in the next part.
See you there. So where were we?
We were talking about Honasa's plans for the future. You were just about to tell us how they plan to achieve those ambitious goals.
Oh, right. Yeah, so they're focusing on a few things. Category-specific innovation.
Meaning?
They're always like researching, developing, new products
Okay.
tailored to each segment.
Got it. So what works for a Monmarth customer might not work for, say, a Dermacus customer.
Exactly. Different needs, different products.
I guess so.
And of course, they're spending a lot on marketing.
Reaching the right audience.
Exactly. Got to make sure the right people see the right message. And of course, offline distribution is still key.
Project Neve.
Yeah, they're still pushing hard on that.
Okay, but what about their financial targets? Are they just obsessed with growth?
No. They want profits too.
Okay, good.
They're actually projecting double-digit EBITDA in FY26.
Double digit. That's a pretty aggressive target, isn't it?
It is. But it shows they're serious about building a sustainable business.
Okay, so they're not just in it for a quick buck.
Nope, they're playing the long game.
It's really interesting to see how much they emphasize sustainability and social impact.
Yeah, they really do.
They've got a whole section dedicated to it in their reports.
It's definitely becoming more important for companies these days.
Absolutely. Consumers are holding brands accountable.
They want to see action, not just words.
Exactly. So what are some of the things Honasa's actually doing?
Well, for starters, they've planted a ton of trees.
Like how many?
Over 700,000.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a big deal, yeah.
So they're literally putting down roots.
Huh, good one. They're also really focused on education.
Okay.
They've got these programs empowering over 24,000 students.
Wow, that's fantastic. What kind of programs?
Science education, mainly. Trying to foster a love for science.
That's so important, especially in India.
Absolutely. It's about investing in the future.
What else are they doing?
They're tackling clean drinking water,
Right.
providing it to over 800 rural households. They're also supporting women in the hair care industry, providing skill certification to over 12,000 women.
That's great. Creating opportunities, empowering women.
Exactly. And they're not stopping there. They've done over 4,000 health checkups in various communities.
Wow, so they're really committed to making a positive impact.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Okay, so let's take a step back and look at their Q2 performance overall.
Big picture time.
They had that revenue decline, but they're blaming it on Project Neve, this big distribution overhaul.
Yeah. And their adjusted revenue actually shows growth.
Right, so how do you make sense of all that?
It's a mixed bag, like we said before. Transformations are never easy. The revenue dip makes sense, but the growth is definitely encouraging.
So their core business is still healthy,
Looks like it.
but it's still early days for this transition.
Very early.
And what about Mama Earth? They're facing some headwinds like we talked about.
Yeah, those shifting consumer preferences towards active ingredients.
Are they doing enough to adapt?
They're trying. They're looking into how to incorporate those active ingredients while still staying true to their natural brand.
That's a tough balancing act
It is. They're also working on refreshing their brand, making sure they stay relevant.
because the market is just so competitive.
Super
And
competitive.
let's not forget the Dermaco. They're actually doing great, which shows Honasa knows how to do science-backed skincare.
Exactly. So there's hope for Mama Earth. They can maybe learn a thing or two from the Dermaco.
That's a good point. It's really interesting to see these different paths within the same company.
It just goes to show how important it is to adapt and be flexible, especially in a market like this.
Right. You can't just stick to one thing and expect it to work forever.
Nope, you got to evolve.
And that all comes back to their house of brands strategy, right?
Right.
They're trying to cater to everyone, which is a risky move.
Very risky. They could spread themselves too thin, or the brands could end up competing with each other.
So it'll be really interesting to see how it all plays out.
Absolutely. A lot of unknowns.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit and talk about the bigger picture.
The broader industry trends.
Exactly. What are some of the forces shaping the beauty and personal care landscape these days?
Well, e-commerce and digital marketing are huge, obviously.
Yeah, they're changing everything.
Totally. It's how consumers discover, research, and buy products now.
And Honasa's got a pretty strong digital presence, right?
Oh, yeah. They were born in the digital age.
So they've got a leg up in that sense.
Definitely. But it's getting more and more competitive online.
Like a digital arms race.
Exactly. Everyone's fighting for attention.
So Honasa needs to keep innovating.
Absolutely. They got to stand out somehow, find creative ways to engage consumers.
It's not enough to just have a website and some social media accounts.
Nope, not anymore. You got to create a whole experience.
And that brings us to another big trend. Personalization.
Oh, yeah. Consumers want everything tailored to them these days.
The e-commerce era.
Exactly. And data is a big part of that.
Companies are collecting tons of data on us.
It's a little creepy, right?
Yeah, a bit. But they use it to personalize their marketing, their recommendations, even the products themselves.
It can be pretty cool when it's done right, but companies need to be responsible with all that data.
Absolutely. Privacy and security are crucial.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so another trend we can't ignore is the growing demand for natural and sustainable products.
Yeah. Consumers are becoming more conscious about what they're putting on their skin and how their choices impact the environment.
And Mama Earth, with their focus on natural and toxin-free products, they're well positioned for this, right?
You'd think so, but there's also a lot of skepticism around these claims.
Greenwashing mob.
Exactly.
Huh?
Companies need to be transparent and back up their claims with evidence.
Show, don't just tell.
Exactly.
Okay, and we can't forget about another big challenge. Counterfeit products.
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
Not just lost revenue for companies, but it's also a safety issue for consumers.
Absolutely. Counterfeit products can be really dangerous.
So Honasa needs to be vigilant.
Yeah, they need to invest in anti-counterfeiting measures.
Like tracking systems, tamper-proof packaging, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay, and finally, let's talk about innovation.
Ah, yes. The lifeblood of the industry.
There's so much competition, so many new products and trends popping up all the time.
It's a constant race to stay ahead.
So Honasa can't afford to rest on their laurels.
Nope. They got to keep pushing boundaries.
So with all these trends and challenges in mind, how do you think Honasa will fare in the future?
It's hard to say for sure. It's a tough market out there. But they've got some good things going for them.
Like what?
Well, they've got a strong digital foundation. They're committed to sustainability. They've got this multi-brand approach, and they seem willing to adapt.
So they've got the potential.
Definitely. It'll be really interesting to see how they navigate all these complexities.
Agreed. They're the company to watch.
For sure.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, from Honasa's performance to the bigger industry trends.
A lot to think about.
Now, we want to bring it back to you, the listener.
Make it personal.
Exactly. We've given you all this information, but what does it mean for you?
Whether you're thinking about investing in Honasa or just trying to figure out which products to buy.
Join us in the next part as we explore that.
We'll make it practical, applicable to your everyday life.
All right, we're back. We spent the last two parts digging into Honasa's numbers,
Yeah, their strategy, all those big industry trends.
but now it's time to make it personal.
Bring it home.
Exactly. So let's say you're thinking about investing in Honasa.
What should you be thinking about?
Yeah, what are the key takeaways?
Well, first off, they're not afraid to take risks.
Like that Project Neve thing.
Yeah, that's a big shakeup.
So it could pay off big.
Or it could backfire.
So it's a gamble.
Definitely a gamble.
Investors need to weigh those risks.
And look beyond just the current numbers.
Right. Can they actually pull this off?
That's the million-dollar question.
And then there's the competition.
Oh, yeah, the market's crowded.
Can Honasa stand out?
They're betting on that house of brands strategy.
But can they manage all those brands?
It's a lot juggling.
And what about Mama Earth?
They're facing some challenges.
Can they adapt to those shifting consumer preferences?
That's the key to their survival.
All right, so now let's talk to you, the consumer.
Yeah, what does all this mean for you?
When you're standing in the aisle, overwhelmed by all the choices,
How do you pick the right product?
we'll start with yourself.
What are your needs?
What are you looking for?
Natural ingredients.
Science-backed formulas.
Specific benefits.
Don't just buy into the hype.
Figure out what actually works for you.
Think about your values.
Sustainability, social impact.
Those things matter too.
Vote with your wallet.
Support brands that align with what you believe in.
It makes a difference.
And of course, there's the budget.
You don't have to spend a fortune.
Find that sweet spot between quality and affordability.
It's all about balance.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive,
Time to tie it all together.
we've explored Honasa's journey,
Their ups and downs.
the industry
The
trends.
consumer landscape.
But here's the big question.
What does it all mean?
What does it mean to create real value?
Not just for the company.
But for the consumer, for the world,
It's about making products that make a difference.
building trust, being transparent.
Operating with a purpose.
It's about leaving a positive mark.
On the world around us.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope this has given you some food for thought.
And some inspiration for your own choices.
Remember, knowledge is power.
Make informed decisions.
And choose wisely.
See you next time.